another really good thing that we can learn from the situation with JK Ultra is that just because you are in the spiritual community does not mean like you're more advanced than somebody who isn't in the spiritual community. Because there's a lot of people who aren't as spiritual as her who actually are more wise than her, who actually have more consideration towards people, who have more of God in them right now because they've been cultivating that, or they've been through pain that has cultivated that. So this is all we're learning right now, is it doesn't matter how many people you have watching your platform, how many people you have on your platform, how long you've been in the spiritual community, if you're even in the spiritual community. That has nothing to do with if you're actually aligned to the path that we're all supposed to be on right now. Now, will I say the spiritual people have like a good kind of like understanding? Yes, but can this happen? Yes, where like people will completely lead you down the wrong path and back into oppression and back into enslavement and back into the things that we're trying to get out of as a society and in the spiritual community. And so like that's what's crazy is like people, this is where you can see how people protect themselves. They protect they do not they do not want to let these identities go, even people in the spiritual community. So we can see how hard this is going to be as a collective, and again, why we need the aliens. Because I've been saying this for months. Even people in the spiritual community are uncomfortable with this shit. They are uncomfortable. They can only hold it for so long before their ego or their identity collapses back and folds back into the matrix and back into those beliefs, because it is just too much to, that people get too overwhelmed by it. And it's like, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but too damn bad we don't have a choice. This is where we are going as a society, as a collective. And so I am more and more convinced every day that, again, the aliens are coming because we have no choice. Because even people who are hybridized with their alien selves are so uncomfortable with this because of the programming down here. It is the programming. It's a beast, guys. It's like infiltrated us completely. And you have to be really smart, and you have to have a lot of life experience to get over it. I'm starting to realize that's literally the only difference between me and other people is, yes, I do get this psychic information that helps me, but it's my experience in life. It's the lessons that I've learned up to this point that helps me apply this information. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, she just didn't have the same lessons that I did. So that's why she doesn't have the depth or the scope. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, just because somebody's got 100,000 followers and they sit there on a podcast and they have for fucking 4 years doesn't mean she knows more than you, Miss Mom, who takes care of 2 kids and still has to go to fucking work and still has to do shit. Or Miss, special interest. I don't, like aliens, but I like to talk about, how I like to Reiki heal and how Reiki healing has helped me, immensely, and, all this stuff. It's like, it doesn't, that's why I'm like, there's a game going on down right here right now, and you have to figure it out, and you have to break the game. And the game is that you have to be very discerning on who the fuck you're listening to. And even within communities or people who think they know what they're talking about, you need to look for honesty. Honesty is the number one sign that somebody is a good channeler, or they're saying don't go down into fear. Spirituality Sam, again, I've been watching a lot of her YouTubes. She is a very reliable channeler. She speaks a lot of truth. She's very honest. She tries to warn people, about fear. Same with Gia Prism. That's why I really trust those 2 psychics with like almost all of my heart and soul, because out of all the psychics I've seen besides myself, I trust Spirituality of Sam and Gia Prism the most, because they and they have bigger numbers on their platforms because of the way they present themselves and the way they present their information. It's very objective. There's a lot of duality in their channels, even if they don't realize it. Both of them have really, really good dualistic standpoints on a lot of things. And so that's who I trust. That's who I trust. If you can hold a dualistic state of mind. Anybody coming on here with just judgment alone, immediate unfollow, immediate just like does not resonate with me. 3, 2, 1 on the clock, 4, 4, 4. So we can learn a lot of lessons from this, too. If you don't feel like you're overly spiritual, but you just feel like you have a better knowing than some people even in the spiritual community, it's probably because you do. And that's what I want to tell people is God designed you a certain way. Sometimes God had to design, like, you know, people who weren't very spiritual, because there's a lot of people here who aren't very spiritual. So they need people who can relate to them, you know? So like, that's really who I'm looking for too, is like people like me, who's just like a regular nurse who just like ended up like this. You know, I was just a nurse, bro, who ended up with fucking stupid psychic abilities. You know, I say stupid, they piss me off sometimes. Like, oh my gosh, it's the most beautiful thing ever. Again, that's duality. You know, you don't always have to be stoked about this either. That's the other thing I want to tell people. It doesn't always have to be this happy, amazing thing, but also don't just like completely just give it up and just go back into the oppression. You know, take a break. That's why I say take a break if it's a lot for you, or, you know, or talk to somebody if you feel like you're having a hard time, or create a community and express that. I guarantee you think it's stupid, but you could literally just come on here and be like, yo, I'm like, there's some things that I've been like introduced to, but like, I don't really know how to feel about it. Like, I feel kind of confused. Like, are there other people on here who like feel kind of confused about this stuff? Like, there's somebody out there who needs that, you know? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is how we build this sense of community. You build a sense of community right where you're at, because God designed you to be right where you're at. And even with JK Ultra, you know, that is the metacognition of my anger, is that God has her going down a certain path, but the path that he has her going down is a complete ego identity collapse back into the matrix, which is not good. That's not where we're trying to go right now as a collective. And actually, you know, again, what we know about collective beliefs and the collective grid and how we move this society forward, and even all those researchers about you only need 10% of people to meditate in a city and it changes everything. Everything we know, you take all those pieces, which I know she knows all this information, and then, you know, comes on here and says that all your beliefs are completely wrong and give it up. Well, that's a wound then. That's a trauma response. You know, you can tell the difference too between if somebody's being honest or if it's coming from a trauma response. And honesty is like, I'm not entirely sure. What's your opinion? Wounding is, this is my opinion, this is the only one that's right, and everybody else is wrong. And she really struggles with that. She has not learned that yet. So there's a lot of people in the spiritual community actually who struggle with this. And that's actually something that really peeves her off. So I'm like, it's just so interesting that the thing that peeves you off is the thing that you are doing. And that's literally my gifts, is to say, hey, you're not cohering. No, hypocrite. I have the hypocrite gifts. I have the hypocrite Jesus codes. I definitely have those, bro, because I've been calling him out all my life, bro. Ever since I was young, I called Donald Trump a hypocrite. You know, I just had this gift. But I know a lot of other people who have a similar gift, you know, calling people out on their bullshit. So, but also I was gaslit against it. So that's what I'm saying. It's just like everybody's got different gifts too. Everybody's got different spiritual, and you have to accept your spiritual gifts and not be jealous of people who have different ones. Would I love to astral project? Yes. I can't. I don't have that gift. Would I love to talk to animals and other people's family members? Yes. But only selective ones come in, and it's only when they feel like it. So I don't have those gifts, you know? It's like everybody's got different spiritual gifts, you know? And some people's spiritual gift is just this knowing. It's just like having, again, like my spiritual gift for a long time is just calling people out on their bullshit, seeing through them. That's like one of my main spiritual gifts. And I didn't even realize it was a spiritual gift, but it absolutely is. So if you have this ability, that is a spiritual gift, guys. Calling people out on bullshit is a spiritual gift. I didn't know it either, though, so don't worry. But I'm just saying, the truth tellers, again, the Jesus codes, we're in this time of Jesus and aliens, Sharknado, you know, weird shit, but that's what it is, you know, and I believe it every day because the proof's there. The proof is in the fucking pudding. The proof's in our 3D reality. Go through my entire page. I'm on YouTube too. Listen to it, bro, you know, it's there if you're there to recognize the pattern. So there's a lot to learn from everything. You know me, I'm learning lessons and everything, but actually I really like moving through life through this. You know, the hard, painful ones, I want to punch in the face and I don't want to be here because they're so painful. But the good, amazing ones, it's like, this is some good shit, guys. This is some good stuff for our noggins. We got to get ourselves just right, because all we got to do is just realign. That's it. We just got to course correct and everything will be fine. But we have all this mess going. It's a mess. It's a neurological mess down here. So I'm like, we need the aliens. We need advanced species with advanced technology to come clean up this neurological nightmare that we're in. Because we can't do it on our own. Not even the spiritual people. So if we can't do it, these regular folks certainly can. You know what I'm saying?